Welcome everybody, Reboot Podcast. Finally we've got here. I'm really happy, really excited to take you on this journey. I want to thank D with all my love. Thank you. Big up Victor. Without you, this wouldn't be happening right now. Big up all the team.
It's been a long time coming.
So today, my guest today is going to be Ayman. Ayman, introduce yourself.
Yes, I'm Ayman, also known as Aya, with a little music group. I want to shout out CNCG, obviously shout out Remedy, shout out Danchu, shout out Abdullah, shout out all the man them inside. And yeah, man, looking forward to having a deep conversation, my bro.
You want to big up the...
Oh yeah, Happy New Year to all the Muslims out there as well. Yesterday was the Muslim New Year. So yeah, man, everyone stay strong, keep going strong.
Alright, so today
Yes.
obviously with your music connections, I thought today that we would talk about music.
Okay.
Especially the influence that music seems to be having on the youth of today. And I wanted to see your thoughts on the fact that as an artist, do you feel like you have a responsibility towards the youth of today with your music? How do you feel when people blame the music for a lot of the things that are going on in society today? So I just wanted to see what your thoughts and your thought process was on that.
Okay, most definitely, I think everyone who makes music, no matter what the genre, has a massive responsibility. Like we talk about music and we sort of like detach ourselves from it. Like the beats is not going to change anyone.
100%.
It's not going to make anyone violent. It's people essentially, and their lyrics and their like opinions and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's the thing that is influencing people, and no doubt, bruv, we have a big like, I can't stress it enough, in it, the importance that we have, that we need to try and say the right things and do the right things and show the best of ourselves. You know, a lot of people have no shame in showing the worst of themselves.
That's true.
And you know, that also gives people, it authorizes them to make certain decisions that we can avoid. You know what I mean? Touching
on what you just said though, about the music itself rather than the vocals.
Yeah.
It's funny because I still feel like because I've tapped into many genres of music, I feel like when I do listen to instrumentals, it does still have an adverse effect on me. So for example, if I'm listening to drum and bass, or if I'm listening to R&B, if you give me an R&B track, just the instrumental, but you give me a drum and bass track, it does do...
Your blood will start rushing.
Yeah. And I do think it still does have an effect, but obviously that's just me.
It does have an effect, but I feel like that's almost, it's like that's the canvas, innit? Like, well, maybe not canvas, but that facilitates the vocals, innit? So 100%. If you have some like proper snares and bass and almost like, you know, phonetically sharp and aggressive type of music, then naturally that's going to facilitate that sort of lyric on top of it. You're not going to have no R&B track over drill.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you know what I mean? So it kind of goes hand in hand.
But do you think sometimes the music can channel what a person is thinking and feeling? Because you know what, it's strange. When I used to come home from this is the thing. When I used to come home from an event or a venue, bro, honestly, I could sit there, my ears would be ringing, and it would just be these sounds in my head. And I just remember, like, sometimes it was almost demonic, you know, like you'd be there and it's like, and it's just like the thought process was different to if I went to sleep listening to, I know, Bob Marley, reggae or whatever, it was a different vibe. I almost could guarantee a better sleep if I went to sleep listening to something like that. So I do believe that the influences are there on both fronts. Not to say that they shouldn't, we shouldn't make music for of course we should, and ultimately you're right, it's vocally where we have the issues, but I just feel like it's both. People
make the beats, they don't appear out of thin air, innit? So 100%. It's sort of the same sort of thing,
exactly.
I got producers that when they're in a state, they're gonna make something a bit aggressive, and that's how those feelings transcend into beat form. But that is actually true what you said, innit? Because when I write music, a lot of my, like, the formula for how I make songs is like some people, they just write a cappella, innit?
Yeah.
I've never been that type of person, because I feel like we're all so multi-dimensional. We can cover whatever, like there's a big range of feelings inside of us that we can tap into.
Yeah, of course.
And I find that it's the beat that gives me my lyrics. So yeah, that is true. Like,
so then
that's actually
proves the
how
point,
right?
Right?
That's actually how I write.
But then that would prove the point. So then if someone gave you a track,
has more importance.
Yeah.
Like what has more importance? Like what is the thing that is more of the driving force? The beats or the lyrics? But then again, you could have an aggressive beat and have some, I don't know, have some righteousness on it,
which would be amazing. But yeah,
and that would still spur on someone maybe to do something righteous, but to have a bit more vigor in it, like have a bit more fire and conviction behind what they're saying, you know what I mean, rather than, you know. So
do you think then that overall music is influencing a lot of the negativity that's going on in society at the moment, especially with the youth?
Yeah, I actually think it's one of the driving forces.
Me too.
When I think about it, because a lot of music is done by people in the same generation, so people are learning from each other at the same generation, going through the same mistakes and that, and people always, like, sometimes you know what is the right thing to do, and you hear someone else talking about the wrong thing to do, and you know deep down the right thing, but because they've said it, you run with that. It's like they've given you justification just because you can relate to it or something. But yeah, definitely. But I don't think that just lies in rap or drill or hip hop. Like, look at pop. Like, pop music has been brainwashing the masses 100%. For years.
And I tell you what's really strange as well. I find that, that's a good point you made. I find that when you look at the rave culture and you look at the club culture, I feel like, although you're going out to listen to music effectively, I don't ever think that was the driving force to why people in their masses were going out. Yeah,
it's not, I'm going to go to this club to listen to this track.
Yeah, it was literally, I just want to go out.
Yeah, you want to catch a vibe.
Music happens to be there, and there's going to be a little vibe, and that's what it is. So it's almost like there is a responsibility there. You can decipher whether you want to play positive or negative music, you know, so it can be something that we can collectively decide to do, you know. And I know that in people, when they make music, they want to express their emotions and their feelings, which everybody has the right to do. I just feel like, personally, when you're doing music, you do have a responsibility, and if you're gonna say there's certain negative things that are being portrayed at the moment, express it in a way that people can understand that it's just a way that you're feeling. You're not glorifying it. And I feel that at the moment it's far too glorified when people are making these tunes, you know, because what happens is someone says in the track, I'm this and I'm that, but they don't say what can happen when you're this or you're that, the repercussions of the consequence. And this is what's bothering me the most. I mean, that's what I mean more than anything. I'm not sitting here saying that you shouldn't make tracks and you shouldn't speak and express yourself. What I'm saying is, be responsible for what you're saying and explain to the youth to both sides of what can happen when you are doing the things that you're doing, and how much work goes into things, and like you said, the consequence of your actions, rather than just say to a kid, look, have this and do this and you have that, and not letting them realise what's going on. And I think this is what happening with kids, because me and you was speaking on it before, and you were saying, you know, like, these kids are out here doing more damage than the artists themselves. You know, so the artist is saying to them, oh, I do this, when actually they don't do any of the thing they're talking about, but the kids are actually out there doing the stuff that you're talking about. So
and it's one of them ones, I don't even want to be too critical on the artist as well, because, like, when you make music creatively and try and send it out to the masses, there is, like, how selfless are you really going to be? Because music ultimately is a cash cow.
100%.
And, you know, you do get people that want to do a good message, but they're broke, and mum can't pay the bills, and, you know, they got bloody nieces and nephews that are hungry and whatnot, so they kind of feel like, why do I have to be the one with the voice of reason? Why can't, like, all these men are making money and whatnot, why can't I just jump on it as well? And I think that these things, like, all work together in conjunction, innit?
But I think then that's for us to be able to say that you don't need to do that, and that would be what I would be trying to go down that lane, is in saying, fair enough, I understand there's money to be made and the market may be not for conscious lyrics and positivity, but it's for us to say, well, let's make it conscious and positive, because at the end of the day, if you take your niece or your nephew somewhere, it doesn't matter how you feel, you're saying to yourself, I have a responsibility to look after them. Why don't we feel the same with the youth? You know, because at the end of the day, my kids have friends. If I take my kids somewhere with their friends, I don't just look after my kids, I look after their friends too. I have a responsibility to look after them all.
It's like the African proverb, it takes a village to raise a child.
Exactly, and the future is them all. You know, you don't just give up when you have your kids and that's it. It's everybody. I mean, we got into this position because of the way we was raised. We're all being raised very well. Hence why we can sit down and have these type of conversations. You know, the kids now are under have this mentality where they don't even feel like they can have conversations with each other. They would rather have physical violence than actually sort and solve a situation. And that's what I'm saying, that I feel like we need to be able to deal with these situations, and I felt music can help, you know, because remember, ultimately music is supposed to be about a voice.
It's a tool, depending on what workman is using it, depends on what kind of thing you get out of it. But you know, like, I do feel like the youth, they feel a bit unrelatable to the older generation. Like, I find a lot of youth are just talking amongst themselves, just like, oh, F them elders or whatever, we're gonna do whatever we want to do. They don't really understand us. We're doing this. We don't, like, they don't have a code or anything like that. They all standardly rush man with 40 man and just whatever, as long as we win, sort of thing. So I do think that, like, the youth are a bit lost. They feel a bit forsaken in that sense. I believe there isn't enough older people who do know better coming out and speaking about this sort of thing. You know, we talk about raising awareness. People just raise awareness.
Then nothing happens.
But you're raising it, and then nothing's coming out of it. There's no government schemes for young people. Youth centres still getting closed down. Everyone's talking about knife crime, but we all know about knife crime. What, you think that is like? You think that's oblivious to some people's minds in London that people are dying? Of course it's not. So all this raising awareness business is good. Like you said earlier, innit? We had a conversation earlier about it. And you said that raising awareness is better than not raising awareness. But then you have to go a step further. You know, are we gonna be happy? It's like giving a homeless person £1 and being like, it's better than not giving it. He got his £1 and then walking away feeling all happy and mighty in yourself, like, oh, I done something good. But where are we going from here, innit? Like, where's the next step? And that's
But see, I agree with that. And just going back to something you said before, this was the strange thing. So when you were saying about the youth and not having anyone elderly be able to guide them in that sense, I feel like that's when it comes.
And I don't mean, sorry, just to cut you off, I don't mean people that are already, like, that have always been straight, you know, like straight talking and always been moving correct and stuff like that. I mean the elders that have made the mistakes and that aren't afraid to bare their soul and then give back to the youth and be like, listen, I was where you was at. Like, there is a way out.
That's a strange one. That's very interesting, because I find that with the youth's mentality, it's a bit jaded in the sense that when you were, for example, let's say one of the old gangster, wherever you want to portray. The thing is, when you say to a kid, don't do this, when you did it yourself, they always find that difficult. You know, if you smoke and you say to your child, you shouldn't smoke, children always find that difficult.
So that's if they know.
Exactly.
So we're talking about hypocrisy.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
So this is where the line is. And then back to when you were saying about the when the guys were like, oh look, with the knife crime and stuff, you know, oh, we don't care about what their elders think. Most of that mentality is coming when you hear some of this music forget what the elders are saying, forget the ops. They're getting that mentality from the other youth. You know, because at the end of the day, it was a scenario whereas when I was young, we didn't have so much, like young. We didn't have all this social media the way it is now. You know, so
see, that's another one that
exactly. So again, we can tap into that. So social media, for example, I feel that for me right now, if I was to put my finger on anything, it would be music and social media.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think there's anything wrong with music and social media, because it's a bit like what we say about guns. Guns don't kill people, people kill people. And I feel the same thing with social media. It's there, and it's how you use it which would determine. But again, I still think we have a responsibility in which how we allow people to use it. I mean, even now we're touching on like a lot of these, see what at the football with at the minute, people were the football players being racially abused.
Yeah.
Like, my stance on something is, listen, I won't go there. You know, I won't. If I don't listen to country and western music, big up Josh, if I don't listen to country and western music, I won't go to a country and western club or concert or whatever. Not because I'm being disrespectful towards it, it's not my cup of tea. You know, so it's the same sort of thing with social media, you know, but it's damaging, and then you can see it. It's I mean, a lot of these school kids, that the bullying, the cyberbullying that goes on now alone, the pressures that these kids feel, you know, when they look at what's going on, it's sky high.
You know, I've always had a little personal vendetta against mobile phones and stuff like this, texting and social media. I've never really been on social media. I had Facebook when I was like 18, 19. Cut off everything, just made an Instagram a couple of months ago, purely based for business and music. But I was speaking about this with my friend the other day. See, calligraphy, the ability to write and stuff like that, because we've lost that art, essentially, people don't put their feeling into what they're writing. You see, like back in the day, you'd have a courier on horseback hundreds of years ago, and then you'd have one person writing a letter to another person. They're not going to interact for about 3 months, so he needs to make sure that everything in his letter is concise, heartfelt. He's going to think about what he's writing, etc., etc. Then he's going to send it off. It's got more feeling behind it. See, if you was to write an insult, you know, like say families arguing, and you write a mad insult to, like, I don't know, one of your siblings, and you're just tapping buttons, but F is the same as U is the same as C is the same as K, and you're just tapping it. You don't really know what you're doing. You press enter. Once it's done, oh shit, I've done it now. I've said that. But see, if you was to write that out
and then read it,
like while you're reading it, you're saying it, you'll be like, well, I can't even write that. Let me just scribble that out straight away. And that's what I find with social media.
And sorry to stop, to add to that and to compound to that.
Hit me.
Socially. So at least when you're saying, when you're writing that, you know that it's your own thoughts. No one else ain't hearing this. And when you're sending it, it ain't going nowhere else but to that person. Socially, it's the whole world. So the pressure on that alone, you know, like when I put this out here, everyone's going to hear it, or everyone's going to see it. And that pressure alone has got these kids almost like...
They don't know how to be sincere and how to not be sincere. Do you know what I mean? So like... That's why one-to-ones are so good for like human interaction, innit? Because you got no one else watching. You can just be who you want to be, or not who you want to be, who you are, essentially, innit? Like, there's always been that connection with like one-to-one people. But you see, if you threw like one more person in the mix, people will start changing their opinions just because of their image. They want their image to be a certain thing. So they want to portray something. Maybe I want to seem like something in front of you, but then in front of a total stranger, I want to seem like something else.
Yeah.
And I think that's really what social media is all about. You know, you got 100,000 followers, you've been talking all this ish, to then go back on yourself.
Yeah.
Then people are going to be like, oh, you said this 6 months ago or something, now you're saying this. You know, like, people are unforgiving, man, and they won't. People don't allow people to change and embrace their own mistakes and learning curves.
And it's the speed as well, socially. So for example, if me and you having an argument, as I've said something to you, before I even get the chance to apologize, there's another 100 people saying, "Oh my god,
yeah.
he just said that to you. Don't have that." You know, before I've even had a chance to think about what my actions and apologize, bro. It's gone to a fact where now
you're gonna apologize now that you got 50 man.
But the thing is, even if I do or I don't, it's too late because people are like, no, you still gotta. You know, there's an expectation now that you have to go and deal with that situation purely because you've made it public. So yeah, I think that is definitely a problem. And back to what you said as well, it's funny, you look on social media and you look at the positive, like you said about the music and the cash cow, you look at the positivity on there, no one follows it. No one's following the positive.
Outweighed massively. We have our own, like, I think with social media, what I do like is that we take the news into our own hands a little bit more. That is one thing I do like, because news coverage, I mean, I know about the Amazon rainforest thing going on about 5 days before they showed it on BBC News.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
Mainstream for the world. Also, the thing about Sudan and the women that are going through hardship in Sudan, and also the people in Rohingya, which is there's basically a culling going on, and also in there's one more, Kashmir, the battle between India and Pakistan. We're not hearing about none of these things.
The worrying thing for me is as well is that when it does finally hit the news, people's emotions are just cut off.
I think that's because of the way the news caters
100%.
Because they'll do that, say that, and then they'll be like, now hottest records of the year, Sun is coming out. Everyone's gonna have a good time, like, you know what I mean? They do this, they have that order though on purpose because their speciality is fear mongering and control. 100%. They don't want anyone to see something and be like, do you know what, that is so bad, I want to do something right now. So they don't let it hang in the air. They say some atrocity, but they quickly cover it up with something else that is so light, and when they tell you the atrocity, your blood is boiling. You feel it, but then they subdue it quickly, and then they hide behind the fact that we have given you the news that you want to hear. You know, we're the free speakers. We tell you, but there's all an order to it. You know what I mean? There's always
an end game.
Deception, man.
There's always an end game, and we discussed. I remember we was talking about back to the knife crime when we was talking about they were looking to put images and little transcripts and stuff on the chicken boxes. The chicken and chips boxes.
What is that gonna do?
The thing for me is, and again we discussed this before, you do that, but then a year before that you was talking about obesity in the kids. So on the one hand you're saying to the kids, stay away from fast food, but then you know the problem's there because that's where you're targeting. So
so imagine if they really stood for what they were saying. Yeah, all right, stop eating fast food. Yeah, then if they're putting knife crime things on the boxes, who's gonna see it?
But this is my point.
Who's going to see it if everyone stopped eating fast food?
This is my point.
Because rich man don't eat chicken and chips.
This is my point. This is my point. And me personally, on a personal note, I feel like they're specifically targeting a type of child. Like when I saw that, me personally, I looked at them as specifically targeting young black boys and girls with the, you know, because and to add to that, I saw a KFC advert where the young lady was dressed in like the Colonel's outfit, and it's almost like it's all marketing. Even news is for them to market and make money.
Yeah.
You know, like on a deep level, they know exactly what they're doing and exactly who they're going for. So it was very strange when I saw that, and I just feel like we have a responsibility to be able to help not just the youth, everybody, to have a better understanding. And I'm hoping with this podcast and as time goes on, we can have these conversations and help people. I mean, I just want to thank you very much for coming.
Anytime,
sitting down with me.
Anytime.
And we'll go in again.
Part 2,
you know,
part 3.
Part 3, part 4.
This is normal for us anyway.
It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. So yeah, I just want to thank you very much.
My pleasure, man.
And yeah, man.
Everyone, look into Reboot System Error.
Yes.
Look into that. It's important.
Positivity.
Yes, for the growth of our youth and for our adults as well. Everybody. You know, there's never. It's not too late until it's too late.
100%. Yeah, thank you everyone. I hope you enjoy the conversation. If you have any comments or anything, you know what to do. All right.
Shout out CNCG as well. Go check that out on Spotify. And yeah, big up everyone, man.